music, or theater, which to choose. My mother's school was faced with the same question last year when making cutbacks. She's a music teacher at Washington Jackson Elementary, and she conducts the extracurricular choir activities as well as puts on the school's musical performances, and has been doing this for over 30 years. Now, her school only has art and music, so when left to choose between the two, they, fortunately for my mother, chose her music program. This same predicament of cutting back one or all of the arts can be seen across the nation, which is why it is imperative that we implement a policy making fine arts a core requirement in every school district. Now, being an art major myself, I've been able to see firsthand how art has influenced my life, as well as benefited me in other subject areas as well, even given me the opportunity to become a physics and calculus tutor at one point. I'm also getting my teaching degree in art, so I put a substantial amount of personal research into gaining evidence of why it is beneficial to keep art in our schools. My mother, being a teacher of 30 plus years though, has seen how it's been taken out. There's some things, you may not know the link between art and math, art and creative problem solving, spatial thinking, or art in our economy today, which is why it is crucial that we listen and come up with a policy to keep art in our schools. Some things we'll talk about, we'll figure out the problem with the art cutbacks and some of those causes of it, and come up with a solution
Cannot record video.
to stop it. I'm sorry. We'll come up with a conclusion to stop it. With the increasing demand to meet standardized testing scores, there's been a greater rise of a problem that is cutting back the arts out of our curriculum. Part of the problem is that there's a higher priority for math and reading, leaving other subjects on the back burner while those are served as the main dish. So art is receiving cutbacks across the nation. In Los Angeles Huffington Post, Robin Bronk writes that the Los Angeles Unified School District, this is the second largest school district in the nation, is set to revisit a plan that includes devastating cuts to their arts education program. This could mean an education devoid of an arts curriculum that had long been a core part of a well-rounded and complete education. Devastating is true. This is 275,000 elementary students without an arts education. 275,000 children in LA, in a city where there's the most positive economic impact of the arts can be seen. Art is crucial. It is crucial to increase these test scores, create better behaviors, and develop a well-rounded student. Evidence of this can be seen in several research case studies. The Americans for the Arts campaign concluded in their case studies that more students who had received higher levels of arts instruction earned higher scores on levels of creative thinking than those students without. In addition, elementary students who attended schools in which arts were integrated within the classroom curriculum outperformed their peers in math. Math even. So as we can see, art equals a better education. If there's so much evidence showing why art is so vital, then why are parents seeing a decline and almost extinction of such programs? One cause is budget cuts. Now, we are all facing budget cuts, but these cuts are shortchanging our children. Art is also showing to be disproportionately unavailable to the lower income because of this, and a greater battle over funding is rising across the nation. ABC News reported that in Jordan Eldridge High School in New York, that the music department is facing a 41% cut in their band budget. That means $24,000 that they're left with from their original $59,000. The same athletic department is only facing 28% cut, but they started with $500,000. Sound fair? In New York City, between the 2006 and 2007 school year and in June 2010, the funding for the arts in public schools system there were cut by 68%. That is $7.2 million cut back. A lot of this can be credited to the No Child Left Behind Act in 2001. This act placed high-stakes performances on math and reading, leaving that to be more important than an overall education. So when left to choose between programs, schools are going to automatically cut back what they see as less academic. Unfortunately, there's a common misconception of the cognitive value of art, and instead it's being seen as an elective or luxury, something that's just expressive or extra fluff, so to speak, instead of the necessity that it is. Now, in order to keep from depriving our children of a well-rounded education, we must develop a solution that fully incorporates the fine arts as a core requirement. Step 1 is to reinvest in arts education. Plain and simple, we must reinvest in the arts. Even out all the cutbacks and view art as the backbone for other subjects. In regards to art education, Fran Smith, editorial writer for the Edutopia publication, states that years of research show that art is closely linked to what we as a nation say we want for our children and demand for our schools, including academic achievement, social and emotional development, civic engagement, and equitable opportunities. The President's Committee on the Arts and Humanities has also taken a stance on this. In over 18 months of multiple studies, they've come to a conclusion, are now making 5 recommendations for all of our school systems that hopefully we can all take to heart as well. So the problem with arts education is truly, truly devastating. It is hurting the innovative and creative thinking of our youth and dampering them from achieving those career goals, which will ultimately hurt our economy as well. So whether it's because of the budget cuts or art not being viewed as the true education tool that it is, we must implement this solution that keeps arts in our schools, so that one day I won't have to face the same question that my mother's school faced, of which to choose. Any questions?
Where does your mom teach?
It's Washington, Texas. She's in Texas.
Oh,
So
okay.
you're probably
I
trying to
thought it
think of
was
the
here.
school. No.
Are there some states where, some states that have, kept as much as they can? Which states cut more? I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
It's not necessarily divided by state, and that is a good question because a lot of it has to do with the state regulation. That's what the President's Committee is trying to get together with the states and those regulations to reinforce the place of arts in K-12 education. But it also has to do from district to district. I also have a friend who is an art teacher in Rhode Island, and every year she goes through this where they face that cutback from the art department. Luckily, they decide to keep it at the end of the year, but they still go through it each time. So,
What is their excuse to give so much more money to sports than arts? Isn't like arts more important?
well, that's the thing. They're seeing their sports. Well, it's going to cost a little bit more for the different athletics department, but that is a good question. But that raises money for their school, whether it's for concessions, things like that. They're getting money from that, so they're making money off that. So they see that as a higher priority. Just like I said with the math and reading, a lot of other subjects are getting cut as well. So
I actually have one more question. Couldn't schools start like putting more, making more money off of like the arts? Like I know my school had a lot of art shows throughout the year, and they were really big into theater because our school was good with theater, so they brought in a lot of money, and our sports department didn't get that much money.
right.
So isn't that something that?
It's a lot to do with the donations. So my school also had a good art show program too, and you got money for your shows and stuff like that. But that had to do with the donations and the booster clubs, things like that. But there are a lot of schools that are implementing this, and they're calling it. There's one that's even called Smart Science, Math, and Art. So they're implementing the science and math with art to create a new way of thinking, which is really what's going to be better for our students. So, great. Thank you.
Great.